Hello, I'm Brian Till, and welcome to a look back at the 2005 Grand American Road Racing Association's Rolex Sports Car Series. In a very few years, the Rolex Series has become one of the most competitive road racing series in North America, if not the world. What other road racing series can boast 126 lead changes in a single season? This year, it all started in Daytona for the 43rd running of the prestigious Rolex 24. The battle for the victory at the Rolex 24 was one of the most hard-fought in recent memory, with 44 lead changes in the 2,500-mile race.
And now, the marathon twice-around-the-clock epic that is the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Victory for SunTrust Racing. Max Angelelli, Wayne Taylor, and Emmanuel Collard, and every single member of that team.
After the endurance challenge of Daytona was completed, it was then on to sprint racing. First stop, Homestead-Miami Speedway, where in the closing laps, we saw yet another typical close Grand Am finish.
The gap has narrowed from some 2.5 seconds a couple of laps ago to only 0.8 of a second now as Leitzinger catches traffic as he goes into one.
And Max Pappas was the one that got hurt the most by the traffic. He was right there on the back of Butch in the 66, but unfortunately the traffic, these two guys got through it. He didn't, so he's lost some ground. There's a piece of body work or something out there. Look, more traffic in front of the 10. It's going to come right down to it. We're under about 8 minutes to go.
You see several GT cars plus a slower DP car through there. Leitzinger sitting back there going, hold him up for me, guys. Hold him up just a little bit. But now Butch is going to have to deal with it as they go down this short straightaway. Big braking zone at the end, Dorsey.
Butch has been catching him in the right place. See, this is the right place. Get him up here where you're about to go onto the big banking. There's nothing to passing a GT car on the banking, but passing him in these corners like the 10's forced to do, he gets held up.
Up the inside, good move by Leitzinger. He gets through relatively cleanly, but so does Angelelli.
And now it's the big drag race. See who's got the top speed, who can get up to speed the quickest.
Angelelli sees the red and black Crawford in his mirror, and he is not letting up either. There's still a long way to go, Dorsey. These machines
have... a little puff of smoke out of the back of the 10 there.
These machines have been through a lot, and that's what I was just getting ready to say. They still have to live for another mile around this racetrack.
We've seen it before. How many times have we seen it before the last lap? Things can happen. I saw that little wisp of smoke, and I don't know, it might have been just a little bit of a locked tire, locked under braking, but car looks healthy now. This is their last time up to the banking, and it's all over with when they get around turn 4.
Well, it's not over until it's over, but time, like we said, is running out, and it is running out quickly. Last year in the two events, the SunTrust car led only 18 laps. They have led many more than that today, and they will lead the only one that matters as the checkered flag falls on Max Angelelli, Wayne Taylor, and the number 10 SunTrust. 2 for 2 this year. They've won the Super Bowl, they won the Rolex in Daytona, and they've won yet again, and the finishing order is just like it was at the Rolex, Dorsey.
Great job for those guys. That was Max Crawford. He's happy. His boys did a good job. There's a GT winner.
Andy Lally, your GT leader, as you just said, Dorsey. Those guys have some celebrating to do, too.
It was clear from the beginning that the 10 car was the season's early favorite, but the defending champion Scott Pruitt and co-driver Luis Diaz were about to let everyone know that they were still in this title fight. We'll head out west when we return. Defending champion Scott Pruitt and Luis Diaz came to Fontana needing to get back into the championship chase. Daytona was a struggle. A blown tire set them back early, and they would eventually finish 7th. They weren't a factor at Homestead either, finishing 5th there. Fontana, however, was a totally different story. Luis Diaz reestablished the 01's qualifying dominance of last season by putting the car on the pole. It was the 13th time in 15 races the team had started up front. Once the racing began, it was an all-out battle, remarkably rough at times. And in the end, that battle produced the closest finish in Rolex history.
Well, the green flies again as Fabrizio Golan leads as he takes his Doran Lexus-powered car over towards turn 3. But side-by-side action right behind him into the braking zone, Doris.
And these cars disrupt the air pretty well, so going side-by-side is not the bad thing to do, because behind, you really get a lot of buffeting. And side-by-side, 3 wide. Watch it, boys.
And look at the braking by Jörg Bergmeister in that 66 car.
Almost a problem right there. They really muscling each other through there.
That's the 01 car. Remember, no power steering in that machine right now, so very difficult to horse it through that tight left-right combination, turns 3 and 4. Look at the battle back here from on board the 10 car.
These guys aren't out of sync, so this is really what's going to determine or come up to the front. And they're 2 and 3 wide on this banking.
And hold on, it's Max the Axe Angelelli, as we like to call him, up the inside. That treacherous turn 3-4
Hey,
complex.
they bumped. There's a wreck.
Big contact.
I told you that was going to happen, no doubt about
66 of Jörg Bergmeister involved. The 77 car.
The 66 was a victim here, no doubt about it.
Still Glen in the 77, but the 66 is the one who got the worst of that contact.
And he was a victim. I mean, he was the meat in the middle of a sandwich, couldn't do a thing. Jörg Bergmeister. He's got definitely a flat tire. That's one thing for sure we can see from here, but it's going to be much more extensive than that. In fact, quite honestly, that car is going to be damaged pretty good.
Yeah, he got it from both sides. Take a look. Angelelli is going to go up the inside of Glen, and then it looks like he just tries to push him off the outside of the road. Fabrizio says, I'll have none of that.
And here's the first bump right here. The bump. Now he puts him in the grass. Can't stop. Big T-bone right in the 66. Spins the 66. That is a vulnerable spot on the race car to get hit, too. Oh, look at the damage here.
Plenty of action still going on here in the Ferrari Maserati 400 from California Speedway, the Rolex Sports Car Series, as you ride on board right now in the number 54 car with Terry Borcheller behind the wheel. And a group of cars in front of him, Dorsey, and it has been very, very busy here the last couple of laps.
Somebody's declared war, I'll tell you that right now. These guys on the last lap just did some things you can't even believe. Scott Pruitt got aggressive, tried to get around, didn't make the pass. In doing so, though, he dragged a lot of guys with him. This group right here, just cutting and thrusting. I mean, they're just banging it out. Look at this, up the middle of 2 Porsches. Tried to make that hole, still trying to make it.
That's not going to work.
He's going to make This is what I'm talking. Look at on the apron.
And the Porsches are having their own battle. Borcheller way high up against the wall, and now the 2 DPs will try to split the Porsches.
Oh, boys, I'm telling you.
Here comes the crash.
He's out of control. Here you go. Oh, that was lucky that wasn't bigger. Somebody was going to pay for all that. I mean, that was just going to happen.
And you wouldn't have thought it early on when Luis Diaz had the problems with the power steering. But the 01 car with the hands of Scott Pruitt has made it back to the front and now leads. We thought that car was down early on, but a familiar sight. Scott Pruitt in the 01 machine leading a Rolex Sports Car Series event.
I have raced many, many miles against this man, and this is what you do not want to see late in a race, him taking the lead for the first time. He's the master at just positioning himself and waiting with his car to pounce. The pounce has been made.
All right, they're going for 3 in a row, and they got the best man in the business. Wayne Taylor believes behind the wheel, Brian.
Well, Wayne believes that, but they're also getting help from traffic right now, too. Dorsey, we talked about it. 3 GT cars really slowed up Pruitt as they came through the 3-4 complex. Looks like Angelelli was able to get through cleanly, but another car, GT car, blocks Angelelli now.
Max Angelelli is right there. Don't make no mistake about it. He's the next car up. There's only 5 car lengths between the 2 of them. They're going to have a 2-lap sprint here to the finish. Pruitt does not need any more help from these slower cars.
Yeah, Pruitt just balked by the GT car. He pulls over out of the way. Angelelli gets clear sailing by, and that has definitely closed the gap between the 2.
There's no way Scott Pruitt is going to make this an easy pass. It's going to be an ugly situation before he gets that 10 car by.
Thinking that we'll probably only have 1 lap to go when they get to the line this time. Angelelli will have 2.8 miles to get it done.
And there will be traffic. There is no question there'll be traffic in front of these guys.
Onto the super speedway, Pruitt brings his 01 Lexus machine. The white flag waves, 1 lap to go.
5 car lengths between those 2 cars, and there are cars in front of them they're going to have to be dealt with on the infield.
Taylor reason to be nervous. Angelelli taking the fight to Pruitt right now around the banking. And it's the brake zone where Angelelli excels, and they're coming up to one of the hardest braking zones right now.
With a car in front of them that they're going to have to deal with. There goes Pruitt to the inside of that car who stays out of the way. That's the Taffel car. Saw him coming.
Look at Angelelli close under braking up underneath the back end of the 01 machine. Now Pruitt gets a launch off the corner, pulls a couple, but another hard braking zone here.
And look at all the traffic racing for position right in front of them. These guys, look at the nervousness. There's Wayne Taylor. He can't believe what's happening. Half a lap to go.
Angelelli still pushing, using all the racetrack. Luis Diaz looking at the monitors, watching our speed broadcast, going, come on, Scott. I want to taste the champagne. I want victory.
And Scott wants it too. Look at all the cars up in front of Scott.
Look at the GT cars.
And these guys are racing for position. And Angelelli's right there. Any mistake now, it's going to be all over.
Angelelli's coming, and there's a little chicane here that they talked about earlier in the drivers' meeting. It's going to be tough for Pruitt to get past these guys. They've got to be looking in their mirrors, but right now Scott Pruitt is on the march. No one's going to get in his way. If they do, they're going to get
nicely
cut
done.
off.
He used that guy as a pick. That definitely held up the 10 just enough.
One more car to deal with, and in one of the slowest sections of the racetrack, the GT car slides wide, but Pruitt can't get underneath him. Angelelli gets the momentum as they come onto the banking.
He's going to go high. He's going to get a run on the top.
Side by side as they come to the line. Angelelli looking for the draft as they come to the line. Checkered flag, Scott Pruitt.
That's what I'm talking about.
Pruitt and Diaz had their first win. Taylor and Angelelli kept the points lead, and the series makes its first appearance at Laguna Seca when we return. The Rolex series has earned a reputation for being very competitive and very physical. This season, in both the Daytona prototype and the GT divisions, that competitiveness sometimes got out of hand, sometimes even before the racing began. Example, GT practice at Laguna. The car of defending GT champion Bill Auberlen would not make the race after this crash in practice. Auberlen and co-driver Joey Hand's season wouldn't get much better.
Well, I was going up the hill and I passed a 04 Porsche going up there. It was kind of a drag race. I left him some room on the outside of the entrance to the corkscrew, and we just got together, you know. Of course, I thought it was his fault, he thought it was my fault, but it's probably a little bit of both. And he got in my right rear and turned me into the fence pretty hard. When I hit, I knew we were done for the weekend. The car's tore up pretty bad, broke the front clip of the car, I think. They can't fix it. So we're gonna go, they're gonna put me in the 22 car with Gleason and James, and Bill in the 16 with Marks and Milner. So, yeah, it's just one of those things.
And it wasn't all that odd to see this kind of contact in the Daytona prototype practices. The bumping and banging wouldn't stop there.
4 wide, up the front straight.
He is now back. Look at the 19 car flashing the lights, trying to get past the GTs. And Negre streaming backwards right now. Don't know if he has a problem or he just got trapped.
He's trapped. He's stuck to the outside with all the other DPs. This is just almost, you know, you get stuck out like that, nobody's going to give you a break, and you won't lay you back in. You just keep falling back.
It's like pulling out of the draft on a restrictor plate race in Nextel Cup. On board.
Oh, and Ace lost it. Right in front, never to collide. I saw that coming. Holy moly.
There's the battle for 8th. Kellner's up the inside of Pruskowski in the 5 car.
Oh, boys, now this just makes me so nervous going up here, because if you get something wrong, it's a big one.
Now, and
oh, boy, right up the inside.
Taylor up inside Kenny Wilden as they go into the corkscrew. Justin Pruskowski gets shuffled back to the back of that line. Pruskowski doing a good job to run with those guys, but Wayne Taylor has made it through. Kellner's out in clear sailings right now.
At the front, it was just as intense.
And look at this, here's the battle.
Oh, this is good.
Oh,
they
contact.
Bump. Battle for second, goes side to side, and he's going to push him off the outside of the track.
Here comes Leitzinger.
Leitzinger gets by. I tell you what, these guys mean business. The guys with the new tire, big upper hand there. Bergmeister in the 66, he needs a yellow flag in the worst way.
Well, and the car that has come up there and gotten in the middle of all that is the 67 car. That's the other Krone TRG machine with Nick Janssen behind the wheel now. He is taken over from Tracy Krone, and he is bringing the fight to these guys now. He's not fighting for the lead right now. He's a lap down, but he is certainly one of the fastest. He's going to take it over from his teammate.
Takes Georg Bergmeister to the outside, which is going to cost him 2 or 3 positions. The 4 is up to the lead.
He just pipped his teammate and cost him the lead. Janssen goes through. He wants the lap back. He's got it back, but now...
I think it was going to happen either way, Brian, but I'll tell you what, your teammate to run you hard like that. Calvin?
Well, we see the Crawford taking the lead, and a lot of people are surprised that the Crawford would be competitive on what is regarded as a downforce track. We knew the Rileys would be strong here. They didn't have a great qualifying run, but since the last round at Fontana, they kept the cars out here. They did a test at Mesa, really working on trying to get more downforce into that Crawford chassis, particularly around the rear spoiler area and how the wing angle affects that. They've certainly done a good job.
Oh, contact.
Action on track, boys.
Took the 66. Bergmeister's going into the gravel trap.
No.
That's bad. Now he's going to be stuck. Sure.
While we were in break, Memo Gidley served his drive-through penalty, but there was excitement on the racetrack. I think we're probably going to see some more penalties here in just a minute.
Watch
Take
this
a look
replay.
at this.
This is just unbelievable. That was intentional as possibly can be. There's no question about it. The 77 turns right and T-bones the 10. And watch this. This is a payback for Fontana where they got together there as well, I guarantee you.
You've got to wonder if it's not. I mean, certainly hard braking as they come in there. Angelelli back underway.
With less than an hour to go, Scott Pruitt executed a spectacular pass to take the lead from Butch Leitzinger in the number 4 car. Unfortunately, the race would end under caution, securing the 0-1 second consecutive win of the season in the Daytona prototype ranks. Tom Milner's PTG BMW team recovered from their practice crash, rearranged driver pairings, and won in GT. Up next, the series heads to Mont-Tremblant and Watkins Glen for a combined 12 hours of racing. Last year, Scott Pruitt won his first Daytona prototype race at Mont-Tremblant. From there, he and Max Pappas went on to the Drivers' Championship. This year, Pruitt arrived at Mont-Tremblant coming off back-to-back wins. He then put his familiar 0-1 machine on the pole at the picturesque circuit, continuing his assault on the title. The Pruitt and Diaz posse was now just 10 points behind Taylor and Angelelli. The SunTrust duo knew that trouble could lurk anywhere around the circuit as they had finished 18th at Tremblant last season, essentially taking them out of the championship. The pressure was on. Weather and track conditions were miserable, and Mother Nature wasn't particular when it came to dealing out misfortunes. At the finish, rains brought an end to the winless drought for Andy Wallace and Milka Duno.
For the first time since Homestead last September, it looks like victory will go to the number 2 Sitgo Crawford, Andy Wallace, Milka Duno, and Jan Lammers. The checkered flag is out. Victory for Crawford, and the 0-2 car indeed crosses the line second. Good finish for Stefan Johansson, and Kurt Wagner will have to wait and see what third place brings.
And Pruitt make it back. Here's your lead car.
22 BMW
GT
takes the flag in GT. They win there. The BMW up front in GT. Andy Wallace, Milka Duno, and Jan Lammers, they'll be tasting the champagne.
Pruitt and Diaz finished third. Gearbox problems sent Taylor and Angelelli to a 6th place finish, and the point lead had been cut in half. In addition, Wallace's win kept him in contention for the Drivers' Championship heading into Watkins Glen. It was no surprise that the 0-1 and the 10 cars were going to be strong this season. With the 2 cars combining for 4 wins in the first 5 races, the proof was evident. But as Andy Wallace showed at Mont-Tremblant, there were numerous teams that could win on any given weekend. As the series moved to Watkins Glen, very difficult weather conditions would wreak havoc on the field, and once again, we would have a new winner.
Here we go again.
I had a race like this against my teammate who was Ron Fellows in Trans Am in the rain, and it's really putting it on the line when you run this close.
3 laps to go, and don't you think that if Mike Johnson watches this, watch this.
These are teammates. Now remember, they're not supposed to crash one another, but look at this. Nick doing the rim shot around the outside. Oh, man, they touched right there.
I don't think Fittipaldi ever knew that was coming. A huge rim shot around the outside there. And don't you think that maybe Mike Johnson might be saying,
Johnson is taking the lead.
Took the lead.
Nick Johnson is in the lead.
Unbelievable stuff here from Watkins Glen. Teammates going at it tooth and nail. Johnson wants to give the win to Tracy Crone. For all that he has done for Nick Johnson, he has put him in the seat and given him this opportunity. Johnson wants to make the best of it. It would be the first Daytona prototype victory for the team and for Nick Johnson. For Tracy Crone, all of Crone TRG Racing. Let's see how it happened.
That was not a team call pullover either, I can tell you this. Look here, big slide. Johnson with a big run going up the inside, and I know Christian doesn't know he's there. Look, the wiggle under braking, he turns in and just sees it. That was not a team order at all. That is hardcore racing there, folks.
Not at all. And almost got
the Corvette.
Corvette as they came through, and Johnson now has been able to pull out a bit of a gap.
And there's the white flag. He's going to make one more time around this. Don't change anything now.
And Andy Lally doing the smart thing, racing Wolf Hemsler hard, but saying, hey guys, we'll take that second place finish. They've struggled the last two races, a 13th at Tremblant and 18th at Laguna. So that has really hurt them after a 5th at the 24 and a win at Homestead. They'll take second place.
There's your second place car, 66. And the 01 is catching the 66, and the 19 is there too. Scott Pruitt just got bogged badly by that Porsche.
Oh, and the 19 is right there.
Oh, and he's at, what kind of maneuver is that up to the inside?
McDowell, a very interesting maneuver there.
Boy, oh boy, that didn't look like it was going to work. I guess it came out all right. He's got a better run on Pruitt. I don't know if Scott knows it. He's going to be vulnerable up here, and Scott is definitely catching.
McDowell loose again, touched the curb there, and the car really wiggled. He keeps his foot in the throttle. Pruitt probably can't see a thing in his
I don't know that Pruitt knows he's there. Pruitt's concentrating on the 66 up there in front of Fittipaldi. He's run him down. He can get second place still.
Fittipaldi, you heard them say earlier they had tortured those rain tires a bit, and they were a little bit concerned, and it could be that the rain tires of Christian Fittipaldi are giving up. McDowell with another big slide over the curbing.
He's just over the top right now. He's putting it all on the edge. He's banking and gambling on getting by on this last final lap, getting by Pruitt. If he doesn't crash, he's got speed, no doubt about that. Pruitt, on the other hand, is not far from the 66.
Pruitt getting held inside where he does not want to be by that slower GT car, but McDowell has to take the same line through the slicker portion of the track.
Watch McDowell here. He's got notions. He's going to try an outside run.
This is where we saw Christian Fittipaldi so fast with the rim shot around the outside. Here comes McDowell.
But can he hold it on the line right there? It gets loose on the exit. Oh, they bump.
Touch.
He's off the
McDowell's
outside. He didn't get the guardrail yet. Pruitt not having any of that. He knew that was coming. That might be the move right there that keeps Pruitt in third.
I'm not sure Scott knew he was there.
Well, you can't. I can tell you when I saw him going around there that you will not get grip. You got grip, and you're faster the first part of it. Okay, here we go. This is the win.
One turn to go for Nick Johnson. He exits turn 10, has his sights set squarely on turn 11 onto the front straightaway here at Watkins Glen International. He will join some very, very familiar and famous names by winning the 6 hour here at the Glen. And he does. Nick Johnson, Tracy Crone win the Salem 6 hours at the Glen. The 67 team became the fourth different winner on the circuit in 6 races. Pruitt held off the 19 car for a crucial third place finish. He and Diaz were now tied for first place with Taylor and Angelelli. They once again finished 6th as the Rolex series prepared to head south to Daytona. Pontiac was enjoying a lot of success in the Rolex series. They had won 4 of the first 6 Daytona prototype races and were in a position to defend their 2004 Manufacturers Championship. In Daytona, they unveiled their plans to go after the GT title as well with the new Pontiac GT-OR. The Racers Group, which up to this point had campaigned Porsches in the GT ranks, would now be the flag bearers for the factory Pontiac GT effort. As far as the prototypes were concerned, Andy Wallace and Tony Stewart had dominated the last 3 races at Daytona. Despite leading over 600 laps in those 3 races, the pair were winless at the Speedway.
every time I get in this Crawford car, it's better and better and better. And, you know, the Seca people have been behind him 100%. I'm behind him 100%. And, you know, every time I get in the car, we just get faster and faster. And you got a great guy like Andy Wallace as a teammate. And it's an awesome car to drive. It's a lot of fun. It's just a matter of getting there and, you know, getting to the end, getting to victory lane finally.
Wallace and Stewart would not be a factor in this race either. Despite running strong early on, the 20 car once again struggled with mechanical problems.
Oh, here's trouble here. That's Tony Stewart, and that is a huge leak, and I don't know what kind of leak it is yet. Is that overheating? It looks hot.
It looks like water. It doesn't look like oil. It certainly looks like water. The radiator is in the front of this car, though, Dorsey, but that water's coming out in the back. Could it be the fittings or the hoses back in the engine compartment?
Yeah, you see Max Crawford there himself looking at it, shouting the orders out. They're looking down that tunnel that runs up through. Most certainly there is lines, Brian, that go between there.
My question is, early in the race, we saw him get together, but it was on the left side when he made that contact with David Murray.
Right, and
this is on the right-hand side, so...
I see no damage to the right-hand side.
Calvin?
Well, there's a lot of water coming out the side pod on this car. Andy Wallace is now behind the wheel, having taken the driving chores from Tony Stewart, but they just want to try and replenish the system. Max Crawford over on the left-hand side. They have a quick fitting here. They can connect this up, try and get some water back in this Pontiac motor, try and stay on this lead lap. This is critical. They can't afford to go a lap down here.
However, the Crawford team was rewarded as Elliott Forbes Robinson and Butch Leitzinger brought home the victory in their Boss Snowplow Pontiac Crawford.
Checkered flag, Butch Leitzinger coming to the line. The curse for the guys at Crawford, Howard Boss Motorsports, and Max Crawford is over. Crawford, Pontiac powered Crawford, takes the win here at Daytona. All the heartache that those guys have gone through has now been washed away by the victory here. They will drink the champagne tonight and enjoy it. And there's your GT leader, Joey Hand and Justin Marks. Joey Hand behind the wheel right now will take the victory for Tom Milner and all of the guys at PTG and BMW. Celebration by Joey Hand. That's going to help him in his championship hunt.
It's been a while since we've won here, and I mean, the Crawford team and Max and Jan and everyone just absolutely poured their hearts into it. And I mean, you know, they've got 4 cars here this weekend, and no one's had an ounce of sleep for the last month, I'm sure. And but God, the car was perfect. Elliott did such a stellar stint. The strategy was everything works sometimes. Sometimes everything goes wrong. Tonight, everything was perfect.
The 10 car stopped their slide in the points with a second place finish at Daytona. The 01 car of Pruitt and Diaz were not so fortunate. This contact with the new Pontiac GTO-R of Andy Lally sent the 01 to pit road to serve a penalty, and they ended up 6th on the evening. After winning the first 2 races of the year, the 10 car got back into victory lane in Birmingham. Pontiac had now won 6 of 8 Daytona prototype races. With 8 races in the books, it was clear the competitiveness of the Daytona prototype class certainly wasn't letting up. As the series returned to Watkins Glen for their second appearance there, the racing was once again impressive. But there were some scary moments as well. For example, Michael McDowell going for the early lead.
Now let's take a look at what happened in this whole melee, because when he hits the 94, he actually does take the lead. Now take a look at the 19. There he's not the 94, but don't watch the Porsche. Right here, watch the 19 up the inside of the 77 and does take the overall lead. Of course, that's not as long as he's going to lead.
Yeah,
that was it, right?
Exactly.
There, yeah.
You see him take the lead. They must have gotten caught up. You talked about brakes and traffic down there in what is known as turn 9. Obviously got bottled up with some GT traffic. McDowell obviously got a run on the 3 DPs in front of him, and he tried to squeeze through.
There's a lot of traffic out there. It's going to be real difficult, and I had a hole. I went for it, and then Bergmeister just came right back down, closed the hole. I was already there, side by the side pod with him, knocked me into the Porsche. It's real unfortunate for the Porsche there. You know, it's a shame that they bring us in for a penalty when Bergmeister slammed the door on us.
Up front, 2 now very familiar cars were going at it.
Back at Watkins Glen under full course caution, and the leaders head to pit road. Calvin.
The 01 driven by Mexican Luis Diaz is in, turns it over to Scott Pruitt, and right in front of him, Wayne Taylor, the championship leader, brings it in to turn it over to Max Angelelli. Now, this is a battle of the teams. Crew's going to work. Looks like routine over here. It'll be a 4-tire change. The new Hughes 55 working really well here. Scott Pruitt is patiently at the wheel. He knows this is a critical race in the championship. Tire change is done, waiting on fuel. 10 cars working as well. They're backing the car up whilst the fueling rig is still connected. Just waiting for the bubbles in the hose here, and he should be underway.
Right now, Max Angelelli looking inside Pruitt.
He's got enough
they
run.
head down to the bus stop.
He's got enough run to do it this time. Scott knows it. Lets it happen.
In true Rolex Series fashion, the closing laps were spectacular. 1 minute, 34 seconds left. It will be under a minute 10 when they get back. That means it should be white flag when we get back to the line. There should be 1 lap to go here at Watkins Glen.
Crew chiefs are in the ear of every driver right now going, you got 1 to go. Get it done right now. This is it.
And you talked about the experience of Angelelli. He's so accustomed to this car. He knows it so well. And he understands, Dorsey, the tires and how they're going to respond after a full course caution. How hard can I push this car? Alex Gurney does not have that experience.
There's your white flag, 1 to go, and you're right. Alex Gurney doing a great job, but just doesn't have the experience. Here comes Scott Pruitt trying to be defensive because he's got Leitzinger trying to get by.
Look at the cars within 5 seconds. The top 10 easily within 5 seconds on this 2-lap dash to the checkered flag. Butch Leitzinger trying to get the run this time, Dorsey.
Up the S as he goes. He'll try to do it, braking for the inner loop. He's got a good run. He's up in the slipstream right now.
And this is really where it needs to happen right now. There's only a half a lap to go.
Scott moves to the inside. He can't do that. Here it comes again. Butch trying to get really tight.
Puts it in there, but no, it will not work. And now Leitzinger trying hard, but then Jan Lammers right behind him. But I would imagine Jan Lammers is going to say, look, I'm not in this for the championship, Butch. I'm not going to pressure you.
And if they had the long course to run on, they'd have a lot of opportunity left, but that's not the case. With 2 corners remaining, I tell you what, Max Ziax has got the lead. He's got a big enough lead. He's not going to make a mistake.
Here's the battle for GT right now. Jan Magnussen in the 64, the Pontiac GT-OR. It would be the first victory, and Angelelli takes the overall win, but Magnussen trying to hold on for the GT victory. We'll have to look back and see what happens in GT. Wayne Taylor celebrates the 4th win for the SunTrust boys, and now Magnussen brings that Pontiac across turn 11 to the checkered flag. It will be the first win for Pontiac in the GT Series, the Rolex Sports Car Series. Taylor and Angelelli's back-to-back wins gave them a bit of breathing room over Diaz and Pruitt in the championship hunt. The celebration would be short-lived, though, as the SunTrust team faced their biggest challenge of the season at Mid-Ohio. Welcome to round 10 of the Rolex Sports Car Series in the IMCO Gears Classic from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Till, joined as usual by Dorsey Schrader in the booth, Calvin Fish and Chris Neville in pit lane. And together, we'll be bringing you all the action. And talk about action, Dorsey. We've seen plenty of it, and the green flag hasn't even fallen.
That's for sure. Wayne Taylor in qualifying sent something terribly wrong. The fuel rail on the left side of the engine split, pouring gasoline all over the car.
Taylor thinks the fire is out, so he lays down, but
no, it's being fueled. The fuel pumps are still on. It's pumping raw fuel. This car is burning feverishly.
And you see Taylor pointing. He's okay. He's pointing to Bill Riley, who comes out on the track and talks to him. But a lot of emotion going on there on the part of Wayne Taylor.
I smelled something weird, and on the change, I think from 3rd to 4th, there seemed like a little backfire. And I continued down. I think I got into 5th gear, and it got really hot in the car. And I looked to the right, and basically the cockpit was filling up with black smoke. And I radioed that the car was on fire. And Bill said, "Get out."
3 laps to go right now. It looks like as they come by the line. That's plenty of time for Pruitt to get it done, but he's got a new problem. It's called the number 10. This is for the championship.
Let's get him.
That's the championship contenders running 2nd and 3rd, and the 10 is coming.
Butch Leitzinger's teammate, Elliott Forbes Robinson, looking on. Leitzinger driving for all he's worth. And Pruitt really pressuring.
Really pressuring. There's not much time left to go, Brian. There's like 2 more passing opportunities, but they're both low percentage risky maneuvers I don't think Scott Pruitt can afford to take.
The biggest passing opportunity may be if the 4 car stumbles. They say they have enough fuel. I'm not sure I believe any of these guys right now. Through the last corner, onto the front straightaway. Butch Leitzinger, Elliott Forbes Robinson, the boss snowplow, Pontiac Crawford, wins at Mid-Ohio.
What a race. Strategy, combat, speed.
And hats off to the guys in the 10 SunTrust, rebuilding a car that was burnt to the ground last night and bringing it to a third place.
There's a good look at the number 21, the PTG BMW, being shared by Tom Miller Jr., Kelly Collins, and RJ Valentine. I don't know that RJ has been in the car today, but that will be your GT leader through turn 11. We're being told RJ Valentine did not get in the car, but the 21 car will win GT.
The third place finish for Taylor and Angelelli was one of the most impressive moments of their championship. For the 01 car of Scott Pruitt and Luis Diaz, it was an opportunity lost. The second place finish just wasn't good enough. But that paled in comparison to the 01's misfortunes at the next round in Phoenix.
The lights off on the Pontiac GTO pace car. He will head to pit lane. The field straight out of NASCAR 4, and we are back to green flag racing at Phoenix. It's these restarts that have caused some of the action as you look as the car streamed down into turn 1. Oh, and there's the 01.
It is Scott Pruitt who's got into the wall, backed into the wall. That's championship implications. He has hurt the back of the car. The wing is dented and bent. That is not good.
Now running side by side with Christian Fittipaldi. He wants to make up the ground that he lost. Definite bodywork damage on the back of that 01 machine. Did not see what caused it down there, but doesn't really matter what caused it. Pruitt, big contact with the inside wall, and I can't believe that rear bodywork is going to stay on.
No, it won't stay on, and the wing is bent, and when he gets up to speed and it gets a lot of download on that wing, it's going to collapse.
Let's see if we can look at a replay and find out what happened down in 1. Here we go. Michael McDowell to the inside.
And he's going to make contact with Pruitt on the quarter panel and spin him. Oh, and he hit the wall.
Almost hit the wall.
McDowell,
I think he missed
again, put the car in a position where there was no room. He not only got Pruitt, but he hit the wall too.
Well, that will be interesting. Scott Pruitt dives to the apron, heads for pit road. He is going to have repairs done. You see the rear wing askew in addition to the rear bodywork. That was a big hit, Dorsey, bigger than I thought in the beginning, and that is not an easy section to repair. And don't forget, that rear wing attached to the gearbox, so the 01 rolls to a stop.
That contact sent Pruitt and Diaz home with 16 place points. The 10 car of Taylor and Angelelli finished second. Pruitt and Diaz were now in a big hole, and time was running out. With 3 races left, Scott Pruitt and Luis Diaz had to win to get back into the championship chase. At Watkins Glen, there was just 1 car in their way.
2 of the best in the business, giving it their all. This is the spot you're talking about. Not close enough, Brian.
Daytona Prototype Championship on the line. Only 2 races left after today. Pruitt needs this win. He needs to gain points on Max Angelelli and Wayne Taylor. Not close enough in the braking zone here.
Nope. And that limits his possibilities to 2.
But this is how smart Scott Pruitt is. He will not stick it in there when it's not going to work. He will not make the mistake of damaging that car. Second place will still give him valuable points.
And a lap car right in front of him could be a determining factor. They're going to go one more time into 2 more corners. And
they're going to catch him in turn 11.
They're going to split him.
David Murray in the injured number 80 Porsche. Pruitt looks the inside. No way.
Murray moves over. Good job.
Victory goes again to the 10 car. Max Angelelli, Wayne Taylor take the checkered flag. Victory for the SunTrust team, the 5th of the season, and they will extend their points lead in the Daytona Prototype Championship over Scott Pruitt and Luis Diaz.
With the title hopes slipping away, the strategy for Pruitt and Diaz became a simple one: win.
So down through 14, through the hog pin turn for one last time for Scott Pruitt. Andy Wallace runs second. Matteo Bobby, their best finish of the year. Then Max Angelelli. The checkered flag falls for the 3rd time this season for Chip Ganassi Racing. Scott Pruitt, Luis Diaz, Andy Wallace second, Matteo Bobby third. Max Angelelli comes across the line in fourth. The Daytona Prototype Championship is still very much alive for Diaz and Pruitt.
Taylor and Angelelli finished fourth. All they would need to do in the final round in Mexico was to start the car and each complete a green flag lap to share the coveted driver's title. Next, we'll head to Mexico City and the season finale, where the GT Championship would go down to the final lap. Wayne Taylor and Max Angelelli's championship was essentially a sure thing when the Rolex Sports Car Series traveled to Mexico. But for the GT crown, that was another matter.
Max Angelelli climbs in behind the wheel of the number 10 SunTrust. One lap of green. Dorsey, he will share the 2005 Daytona Prototype Rolex Drivers Championship with Wayne Taylor.
Which will be his first championship, and all he has to do is get back to right here.
It'll be his first major sports car championship. Remember, he won the Italian Formula 3 championship quite some time ago. We won't say when.
I'm not talking about
We're not going to age him.
No, I'm not talking about that.
But this would be so special to Wayne Taylor and to Max Angelelli, and know that Wayne Taylor is sitting there going, come on, Max, I need to see you come by the start-finish line. One lap, that's what we need. We'll share this championship together.
Well, down here with a very happy driver, Wayne Taylor. Congratulations on the championship, and your buddy, big friend Max Angelelli has also got him. You got to be very happy and proud.
I really am. You know, we have the fastest guy in the car now. I think he's done his lap, so he's won the championship. All these guys behind you, SunTrust Bank. What a hell of a year. I'm really, really, really happy.
This will be the first victory for Findlay Motorsports, Mimo Gidley and Michael McDowell in the Rolex Sports Car Series.
Dynan BMW Power coming up the front.
First win for the boys at Findlay Motorsports in that BMW Riley celebration all around. That's their race victory. Let's go to the championship for GT. There's been contact.
Okay, well, we knew it was going to happen, but we don't know yet. They didn't cut to it. The feed that we're getting, we have no control, but we'll see it.
That was in turn 14. You see the damage to the front of David Murray's Porsche.
And in theory, Craig Stanton's winning the championship right now.
Well,
in theory.
but
in theory,
on the track, but I hate to say this, but with damage to the front end of that car, it seems that Andy Lally must have been in front at some point in time, and we know how these officials have been with making the call on contact. Last lap of the last race of the 2005 season, the championship on the line. What will the call? What will the call that will be made? Let's take a look.
All right, there you see Murray working. Andy Lally trying to get a run around the outside with the GTO. He's tried this every time. Now he really sticks it in there. They do make contact.
Lally makes first.
Now he made the pass. Okay, Lally now clearly by David Murray. We kind of know now.
Now, did David just say, no, it's not going to happen like that?
Well,
Lally blocking up the inside. Murray into 14. This is where the Pontiac had been
dives
so strong.
to the inside last minute, really last minute. Oh, my. Launches the Porsche off the curbing. T-bones Lally, and I think
wow, that was crazy,
fault.
And this one's far from over. I think I have a feeling here, boys. Excitement in Mexico all around.
Taylor and Angelelli never lost the points lead throughout 2005. Mid-Ohio was the team's biggest test of the season. When you look back, that fire and the teamwork that it took to get the car back on track was the deciding factor in the championship. In the GT ranks, it couldn't have been a tougher battle throughout the year. Craig Stanton, although winless on the track, won his first GT title with the help of good friend and co-driver David Murray. All in all, the 2005 season far exceeded everyone's expectations, and for 2006, with more world-class teams, cars, and drivers entering the fray, imagine what that season will be like. Daytona is just around the corner, teams are already testing, and final plans are being made. So make your plans to be a part of it and catch all of the action that is the Rolex Sports Car Series right here on Speed.